Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts, based here in Seattle, Washington. Today is Wednesday, February 10th, 2021, and I hope you're having, again, a good afternoon or good evening. Wherever you are on this Wednesday, hump day, got a couple more days left of the work week, depending on what kind of schedule you work. And yeah, I'm so glad for you take the time to join me. Speaking of some things that are coming up, tomorrow, in terms of virtual interviews, I have an interview at actually the same time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, with Carl Garcia. Carl is an amazing actor, videographer, musician, skateboarder, all kinds of other things that he does. So he'll be stopping by virtually, the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio. I do have a phone interview tomorrow, which will be uploaded to my YouTube channel at some point. Obviously, people won't be able to see this one, but we're going old school with a phone interview with Rob Barrett from Cannibal Corpse. They've got a new album coming out in April, so I'll be talking and doing the whole death metal thing. And then on Monday, I have Annika van Heersbergen, who is one of my favorite singers of all time, and she'll be stopping by at 11:30 a.m. on Monday the 15th. And there's a bunch of other things in play, meaning that some publicists are checking with people, and there's another one that might be happening on Monday, and definitely something's happening right after the 21st. So as usual, there's lots of things going on here, which is the way I like it. And but let's get to my guest today, because I'm really excited to talk about her single that's coming out, and we'll talk about everything under the sun. So my guest today is an up-and-coming musician and artist. Her new single, Lonely Bitch, is dropping this Friday the 12th, so in a couple of days. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio, AVIV.
Hi.
Hi, how are you, AVIV?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it, and I love talking to artistic folks, so this will be fun.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
Cool. So let's start from the most recent thing, and we'll kind of work our way back. So you have your new single, Lonely Bitch, is coming out. What can you tell me about it? How was it written? What can people expect?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, really Lonely Bitch was kind of the first song that I wrote fresh into the pandemic. It was the first time I really got to get my emotions of this whole new thing that was happening out in a song. And that's why it took me again. It was really interesting because in the pandemic, when it started, it gave me that chance to get really intimate and really put out all the things I was thinking about and thinking in these times, and just really get that out there in a song. And that's how I wrote Lonely Bitch. And I wrote it. I released it as a demo on Spotify, on SoundCloud, my bad. And I put it on my Instagram story. And through that, people were really sweet about it. I got some positive responses. And yeah, I just decided to pursue it. I went to Montreal to produce it alongside my brother and his friend, his name's Jackson Fullimer. He was the main guy in charge of production. And that was really the whole scape of how the song was made.
Okay, cool. And so you mentioned that it was something that was written during the pandemic. And so I'm assuming, but I don't want to assume, that you may have gone through that whole roller coaster like everyone else did at the beginning, in the middle, where we're at now in terms of the pandemic. Can you kind of speak to that, your feelings?
Oh, yeah, for sure. One of the first lines of the song mentions, "It's day 42, I'm screwed." I actually wrote it on the 42nd day of quarantine. And what I was feeling then, because this was so new to me, and I was in school at the time and just kind of stripped away from all the normalcy that I ever thought I needed. And it was really interesting because on one hand, you don't really know that you take those things for granted until they're just gone. You don't really know what you got till it's gone. And yeah, the song is about kind of overcoming that and saying, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to be a lonely bitch. I want to be a human being that can go out and feel emotions again and see people. So that was really what the whole scheme of the song was about. And yeah.
Okay. And just for my own reference, since I'm not really familiar, so when in your part of Canada, what were things like? So were you guys actually locked down for weeks at a time, or was it a little bit more open than that? Or
Yeah, I remember I was in school one day and everyone was talking about this whole pandemic thing, this whole disease, and I didn't really know too much about it, and we were just blowing it off. Oh, cool, okay, we'll be 2 weeks off of school. That's fun. We were all celebrating, and already we were planning out, okay, we're going to hang out every single day and do online school every single day together in big groups, throw parties. It wasn't the case at all. Locked away from people for 2 months. It was really bad here in Canada, here in Toronto especially. And yeah, it was just really surreal just in the moment. I feel like no one really expected it. So it was kind of a whoa moment for sure.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that because down here in the US, and since I'm based in Seattle, all eyes were on us because one of the first cases was in January last year here.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, and so like you'd see the national news talking about Seattle, talking about Kirkland, Washington, where there's an outbreak at a long-term care facility, and all of these kind of things, and those are right in my backyard. So
That's crazy.
yeah, it it's definitely it's been a roller coaster, and like we talked pre-show, you know,
Hmm.
what you just said right now that you and your friends thought, oh, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, and it turned into something completely different. Well, yeah, same thing here. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll finally have time to work on that stuff. I kept saying if I only had time, and then it's like, yeah, I don't feel like doing this right now.
Yes,
uh,
I agree.
yeah.
100%.
One, and I think what you were saying about the lyric content of the song too also speaks to, I think most people, and myself included, got to a point where it's like, I can't let this stop what I want to do.
Yeah.
Especially when it looked like it was going to go on for a while. It's like, okay, we're not going to be dealing with this for 2 months or even through the summer. Now it's the fall, winter into next year, which is now. So are you going to just kind of look back and say, well, I guess I'm just going to piss away a year? Or are you going to be like, no, I'm going to start doing what I still need to do it safely, do it smartly, but
Mhm.
try to get some of those pieces back in my life.
I feel like now, especially now that we've kind of gone through it and we're in this whole second wave, I remember like first time in quarantine, everything was so new and no one was really finding ways to be creative. And I feel like now people have just adapted and the things that are coming out are just like extraordinary. Even me with school, um, I remember like we were just off for a month. We were doing virtual classes here and there, but it's much more organized and people kind of understand. They're more prepared, obviously, for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense because I think the exact same thing happened down here that when the schools closed down in March, it was just kind of like people throwing stuff to the wall to see if it would stick. Like they didn't know what Zoom was, they didn't know what a lot of
Mhm.
things were. But then we moved into this school year in September. It's like, okay, we kind of know the drill. We know how to make it better, have processes together, make it more meaningful for students. Yes, it's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination, but at least we're not fumbling around completely, and we can kind of have something, robust to offer people.
100%. Yeah.
Wow. That kind of begs the question. So, how are things right now in Toronto in terms of COVID and all that?
Well, we after the holidays, there was a bit of a lockdown because the cases rised as expected with New Year's, and then the holidays, people I guess got together and stuff. But yeah, it was pretty bad. But we've been locked down, and the cases have been slowly falling. I'm actually set to go back to in-person schooling in the next couple of weeks, which I'm so excited about. Finally, human interaction. But yeah, it was pretty bad, but I'm happy to say that we're doing much better, and hopefully people and stores will open up again because I feel so bad for all those little businesses. Like my heart aches so much for that. Oh, my dog.
No problem. What kind of dog do you have? Just by the way.
Oh my God, he's a border collie.
Oh,
He's going crazy. Yeah, we got him beginning of quarantine. Even like dogs are going crazy. I remember because he hasn't. Oh my God, I'm so sorry about that. he he also just hasn't seen people or like been away from us ever because we're always at home. So every single time we leave, he'll go crazy, as you can hear. Sorry about that.
no, that's okay. I can still hear you fine. So we have some ambient dog barking in the background.
Just background music.
Oh my gosh! But you're right. I think that's not just people, like pets, and everyone's been impacted. And also, a lot of people did get pets during the pandemic. We're getting from different breeders and adoption agencies and pounds and everything. But it's been kind of good in that sense that they've been able to get dogs into homes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the rates have definitely gone up with that, so that's good. There's some
Yeah.
light. There's some light to it, that's for sure.
Well, and going back to with Lonely Bitch, do you have plans to do any kind of video down the road for it, or?
Yeah, I mean, I actually filmed a video at home. I have a friend who kind of we were obviously social distance and following measures and stuff, but we filmed a cool video. I edited it, and I have a guest animator who's going to do some animation on it. Yeah, I don't know. His name is Octavio, but I'm really excited for you guys to see it. He's super talented, so definitely stay tuned for that.
Awesome. Yes, that sounds awesome. Many years ago, back when I had hair, I used to work at a computer company that did animation. I was the audio engineer side of it. So
That's
uh,
so cool. I
yeah,
love that.
anytime I hear about animation or that kind of thing, it just brings me back to that world and all the creative folks that I used to be around.
I was gonna say that is a definitely creative world. My God, there's such cool stuff at that.
Yeah, it was a fun time. Quickly, I'll tell you my background. I used to actually work as a teacher many years
Oh
ago.
wow.
And yeah, so when I left that, I went to the computer company as an audio engineer, and so those worlds were so different about just being a teacher and things that are expected of you and the way you have to carry yourself and all that. And then I went over to this computer company that was like, we're staying there till 1 a.m. and we're like kind of partying around sometimes. and I was so like, is this okay? Are we okay to do this? And they're all laughing at me. Mark, it's okay to have a drink. We're all over 21 here.
All good.
And you're not going to get sent to the principal's office, Mark. It's okay. I'm like, okay. Whew.
Well, if you survived being a teacher, you can survive anything. Kids are the worst. So, yeah, we suck. It's okay. I'll take one for the team. We suck. So if you got through that, you can go through anything. This pandemic's nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I've worked with young people, even beyond when I was a teacher. I also worked with some community-based agencies for a long time. I worked with foster care children. I work with at-risk youth.
Wow.
That's a part of who I am. So I do like to give back and try to help people wherever I can. And it's kind of actually bled into how I do these things because, like, for instance, in your case of this interview, I have topics written down. I don't have specific questions because I like to listen to my guest and then we kind of riff off of it, basically. And that way we cover a lot more things. I think people tend to be a little bit more comfortable with it. So it's not so not so robotic about, please tell me about this. What are you going to, it's just like, oh my God, it's so stiff. And I don't.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's absolutely amazing. I'd love to sometime dive into like your whole backstory and stuff and how you got involved with that. That's so cool.
Oh, well, we can talk offline about that because there actually might be an opportunity for you to be able to do that away from this kind of thing. I'll explain that offline. So when we're done with the interview, don't log off.
I won't.
We'll talk about it.
I will not.
Okay. And I also know, so like I was watching the video and I played part of it from Front Lawn. And so where are you drawing your inspiration for these songs? You already talked about Lonely Bitch, but you had Front Lawn, Girls in Red, Cookie Dough. Can you kind of speak to just lyrically for those songs, like where your head was at?
Yeah, I mean, again, touching on like the quarantine, being stuck in my room thing. Lonely Bitch was the first one, but the other ones kind of were to follow that. And like I said before, like it gave me really time to be intimate with my music and understand the sound that I wanted to be putting out into the world and what I wanted to be making. I remember when I was younger, my dad and I went on a road trip once and he like played Radiohead. And I remember and I was like, that is different. That is a different sound. That is not like what I hear on the top hundreds. And I like fell in love. And I was just, ever since then, I've just always made it my goal to like put stuff out there that I know maybe has some similar attributes, but stuff that's really like authentic to me and has that different sound. And yeah, that's really what I think when I'm making my music. Always different, unique, and the most AVIV there is. Yeah.
You know what? That's really smart of you because we talked again pre-show of the wide variety of guests I've virtually interviewed over, it's not even been a year yet. But when I asked them about advice, almost the first thing all of these people, again, if there's a musician, an actor, a ballet dancer, they all talk about trying to find your own voice and be your own artist.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yep. And it's like, it's okay if you fail forward, try something interesting. If it doesn't work, try something different, but make sure it's uniquely you. And that's when you'll start finding your audience, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I totally feel like that. Again, just I made it like my goal to kind of be a part of everything. And the people that I surrounded myself with, my team or whatever, they're very supportive of, yes, we're here to guide you, but at the same time, the creative stuff should come from you, because people like are very easy to pick up if something is fake. It's very easy to not feel that personal connection through an artist. And again, like if I'm not drawn to something or if I don't feel like something's me, then I don't think I'd put it out, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that again, that's smart. It's really also your brand of AVIV, like what song comes out and what it's about. If it's something that seems like it's not really resonating with you, you definitely don't want to put it out for fans and new fans to potentially hear. So it makes perfect sense that you're doing things that are true to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Um, I, I'm curious about like particularly like with the cookie dough video, and you're riding around, and where was that shot? Like in your neighborhood? Did it go smoothly? Did you have any kind of funny bloopers that happened?
Oh my God. Yeah. That was so cool. That's hilarious. Yeah, I actually filmed it in downtown Toronto. And in downtown Toronto, I don't know if there's any people from kind of Toronto on here, but oh my God, there's cars everywhere. And some people, I swear, some people don't know how to drive in the city. They'll be going like 100 just straight through. And it was really cool. So it was my videographer, James, and in my mom's car, and the trunk was open, and he was just sitting with his camera while I was just like riding. And then this like car comes speeding through, and everyone just was like, "Whoa!" But yeah, it was crazy. It was really, really cool. I remember when I wrote the song, it just in my head, I already saw the video. Just, being on the bike, being free kind of from the whole world. And it was really cool filming. I felt like a movie star filming it. It was definitely a surreal experience. And it was so, so sick. Thank you for bringing that up. Oh my gosh, I missed that. That was so fun.
Yeah, no, it was. That's so. It sounds now it wasn't a fun video, but it sounds like you had a couple of close calls then with the cars in downtown.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, it was really scary, but it was pretty good. Luckily, no one was in. No Avivs were injured in the making, so all was good.
Okay, and so Aviv, let's kind of go back. I know you're still young, but let's kind of go back to the early days. When did you first get involved, either with music or any kind of artistic field?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were talking about it. I actually started in the film world. I was always growing up. I was like, I'm gonna be an actress, 100%. It's what I want to do. And as I progressed in that world and did some movie and film stuff, I really just got drawn to the music world. And it started with, I write it in my Spotify bio. My parents like forced me to play piano lessons with this really strict Russian teacher, and I hated every second of it. And then now I love it, and it's like my form of therapy. So yeah, theater and film was always it for me. And then through theater, had music. I just got drawn to the music side more, but I still do film. But music's passion. Both of them are, but you know.
It sounds like music is kind of maybe a little bit a bigger part of your soul, a bit maybe over.
Music has always just been very easily accessible for me. I feel like I told you, I've got my piano over here. I don't know if you can see,
Mhm.
but yeah, music has just been always just that really easy go-to. This is what I'm feeling in the moment, and that's what I feel like I always create my best stuff, is when it's just random in the moment and stuff like that. But yeah, it's very cool. Both fields are amazing, and I highly recommend it for anyone that's trying to get into it, because it's a very, 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 very exciting and fun thing to be a part of.
All right. And so when you started with theater and film, were you taking classes and acting things, or how did that start? Were you like 5, or how old were you when you started all this stuff?
Yeah, I was, I think I was 5, and I just started. I got an agent here in the city, and I started with commercial work, and that was what I was really into. And then slowly that turned into TV work. I did a couple of workshops in the city for sure, and really just pulling like from inspiration and stuff I saw on TV. And then I started taking singing lessons when I was 9. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you feel? And granted, I guess so if you start singing lessons when you're 9, so it's been what, 5 years or so of you singing, well, properly singing or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
Do you feel your voice or your style's changed?
Oh my God, 100%. I owe a lot to my vocal teacher. She taught me how to sing in like a really healthy way, but still to be able to sing in the genre that I do. I was actually trained classically. So I don't know. I don't know if you have this down here in the States. I'm not sure, or something similar. There's this thing called Royal Conservatory, and it's like vocal lessons. So I'm in grade 8 right now. That's what I'm studying currently. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hmm.
Interesting. So, if you're classically trained and you're studying this, do you have ambitions to like leave the field of music that you're doing and go like, the whole full opera thing, or just a bunch of different styles of singing, or?
Um, it's actually funny. I don't think I do see myself going into that opera route, but I do believe that being classically trained has definitely helped me improve in the field that I'm part of, this indie pop genre. I think if I wasn't classically trained, I think just the theory and then the whole rule process that comes with being classically trained just really applies into my other kind of music. So I'm not sure I would go back, even though it might be interesting to explore in the future. Never know.
Okay, so that, I guess that also kind of begs the question, since you have a theater background and you're obviously a music background, um, if an opportunity, once things fully open up again or even partially open up again, would you accept like a role in a musical theater production to go tour somewhere?
Oh my God, I'd love to. That's so cool. That's like my grade 6 dreams coming alive. Like it's always still, of course. Yeah, that'd be so surreal and cool. 100%. I love theater. It's so cool.
Are there some productions theater-wise that either you were a part of that you can mention, or ones that you happen to love that you'd like to go to as a fan?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I was younger, I worked with a theater company here, and I was in Mary Poppins, and then I did a show called Ragtime. It was
Mhm.
really cool, and it taught me a lot, especially growing up. It was really cool to learn about that side. And then yeah, I went to theater camp for a while in the summers. I did some productions there, and mostly just theater companies and stuff in Toronto. And I love Hamilton, the musical, and Beetlejuice. They're both so amazing, and Lin-Manuel Miranda is just brilliant. So it was really cool
Okay.
too.
Interesting that we're talking about this because so down here in Seattle, when the touring musicals come around for the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
they play at this theater called the Paramount Theater, which holds about like 3,400 people. It's got 3 mezzanines. It's very ornate, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And because of COVID, obviously none of that happened last
Yeah.
year, and a little bit longer. But I just literally got a press release today that for October of this year, they're trying to bring everything back. So they actually have the musicals scheduled. So I was like, oh,
Fingers crossed.
yeah, exactly. I was like, there might be some hope. They actually have this stuff scheduled, and Hamilton's actually one of them that's going to be coming here for 6 weeks.
Oh, I'm so jealous of you. You have to go. Oh my God, that's so exciting. What about you? What's your favorite? I'll interview you for a sec. What's your favorite theater show you've ever like done PR for and stuff?
Um, so, truth be told, and some viewers know this, before I got credentialed to cover musical theater,
Mhm.
I was not a fan of it. I sorry.
How can you not like musical theater?
There's something about it that when they start breaking into song about why they're going to do this and telling the storyline, I just couldn't get past it. Having said
Yeah,
that, though, I did see back in the day. I saw Phantom of the Opera, I saw Lion King, I saw Wicked, and I saw Rock of Ages. So I did see
good.
some, and it wasn't like I didn't like them, but I'm like, do I want to try to get credentialed to see every musical that comes to Seattle? I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
think so. What happened was that I wanted to try to get an interview with one of the leads of the sequel to Phantom, which is Love Never Dies. It was coming to
Mhm.
Seattle for the first time, so I was coming from that angle. It's like, hey, I would love to talk to that. Would be really different, really interesting. And
Uh-huh.
lo and behold, I managed to get it scheduled. They actually said yes to me.
That's
Uh,
absurd. That's crazy. Wow.
It was crazy because I was myself and the ABC affiliate. We're the only two that got approved to interview this gal. And then they're like, "Well, Mark, we can get you tickets and put you on the guest list." And I'm like, "Oh, okay,
Oh, okay. If you sure, why not?
yeah, if you must, that's." And then the very next musical after that was Les Mis, that came to
Oh my
town,
God,
and
that's
then it
so
was
good.
yeah, it then became Color Purple, then became Phantom, and then Waitress was here. So I just said I'm not going to cherry pick anything because I'm really new to this arena. So let me
Mhm.
see as many of them as I can. And then I think I only missed one due to sickness, and then one was due to weather. Other than that, I saw everything that came. And then yeah, COVID happened,
It's
and then
crazy.
I missed out on all these. But yeah, I was so excited to see that they have everything on the schedule. Yeah, and they're just hoping that we keep moving in a good direction so these things can happen.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that's like very, very crazy for you. Like I was saying before, to like go from all of that to just nothing so quickly. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, everyone's got their tale to tell about 2020.
Definitely gonna see it in the history books. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you kind of showed your piano earlier. Is that typically your main writing instrument when you write songs?
Depends the mood. Yeah, I mean, I usually start on piano or guitar, and then I'll like go on my laptop and I'll open up Logic or GarageBand and make a little beat, and then write to that. Yeah.
Okay. And so the songs you put out, it sounds like they're completely your songs. Like you wrote the songs.
I did. Everything that's out there now except for Cookie Dough, I actually wrote and co-produced. But lately, I've actually kind of explored more writing sessions, and I've been meeting with a lot of really, really interesting writers. And I do love co-writing just so much. You learn so much. So definitely expect some cool collab stuff to release soon.
Okay. And since we're speaking of the music that you're working on, and we're talking about these virtual things, do you have any plans in the future to do like a live stream of like a half hour, 45 minute set of your stuff?
100%. When things open up, I'm the first. Like, I'm so excited about live shows. It's my dream just to get out on stage and kind of perform for an audience. 100% when that opens up. I'd love, love, love that. If it's opening or my own show, 100%.
Okay. And do you think in the meantime that you would ever do like a live stream concert before we get to that point where things are open?
Live stream, yeah, for sure. I at the beginning of the pandemic, I would kind of do covers and stuff on lives, and usually when my songs come out, that's what I'll do. Especially for Lonely Bitch, I have a stream planned, but 100%, yeah, for sure.
Okay. And Aviv, I'll ask you this because I'm an old man and you're a young teenager.
No, you're
Uh,
not. I didn't say that.
Trust me, it's true. But how do you feel social media has helped or hindered your career basically as a V? Because like when I looked at your stuff on Instagram and on Facebook and YouTube, you've got a lot of followers already. So I'm just kind of wondering, how did you build that up? And also, yeah, how do you feel the importance of it, or maybe the non-importance of it?
Yeah, I mean, social media has just being a teenager, like you said, like it's just kind of always been there when I was growing up. And I remember before my music world started, it had that form of being either amazing and obviously the toxic sides that come with it. If there's something social media taught me is that, I choose to and pick what I'm putting out into the world. And I always wanted to make it my goal to kind of make sure to show both sides, the good and the bad, which I feel like I really lacked from other influencers, seeing, their great days and then seeing their bad days. So I think that's been really cool. It's definitely been a really interesting outlet also for me to connect with people, which especially like if there's one thing also COVID taught me, it's how easy it is to connect with people in our day and age. It's crazy. You just search up their name on Instagram and they're there. And I've definitely made it's definitely given me a really intimate connection with the people that listen to my music and stuff, and just a way for me to let people in on my life a little bit more so they can like get that other authentic feel. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, and you're right. I did this virtual tour. So the reason I'm doing these virtual interviews is because back in May I was invited to open up a virtual tour with this band from Los Angeles called Alice. So
Okay.
they're headlining shows and they had opening bands and DJs, and I was the first opener by doing interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And So here we are all of these months later. So a lot of their fans are now watching my stuff. They're following what I
Mhm.
do. So it just became this whole kind of like a networking thing that never would have
Sure.
happened without social media, because it's so easy. As soon as they saw that, who's this bald guy? And then they're looking at my things, oh, Eclectic Arts. That, yeah. And then next thing I know, there's like people that have subscribed, follow me. I'm like, who is that? It's like, oh, you're so-and-so in the chat or whatever it is.
Mhm.
It's surreal, but it's very cool when it's positive like that, when it works out well.
Yeah.
I've had a few of the other side, but we won't get into that of people that I have.
No, social media can be such a good way to like understand our world, but it also can just be so like dreadful and harsh and like dangerous, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of just like what you were saying, that you can choose to put out what you want, and then you can also kind of choose to monitor, your own accounts, and if people are getting like they start crossing lines or whatever, just you can block them, you can do whatever,
Mhm.
and if you need to take a break at times and then kind of come back to it in a week or whatever or a month, you can totally do that kind of thing too. But yeah, for myself, when I was your age, again, one of those stories, back when I would walk 10 miles in the snow with no shoes. Obviously there was nothing like this, and so it's a whole different world for young people that are growing up with it. But as long as
Mhm.
they're being smart about it and how they want to use it, then it can be a hugely useful tool for getting your stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, I just like think about it years before social media was existent. Like, I don't understand how people formed such a close connection and really idolized artists without being able to see more into their lives other than just their performances, music, and interviews. So it's really weird. It's really like interesting because I feel nowadays that wouldn't fly as much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, because so if I think back, like the first band I ever saw was Kiss back in the day.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
I'm jealous. I wish.
I was 9 years old when I saw them,
Aww.
and then that's been downhill ever since.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I only knew what I saw in magazines. There was no MTV at that time or music channel, so you couldn't watch videos of them or concerts on YouTube or any of that kind of
Mhm.
thing. And if they happened to be doing like a news story, it would be like for a minute and a half on them. So you only knew a very limited perception of what they were like. You didn't know what they were like as people. Uh,
Mhm.
until that, like, People magazine was still around back then, so they snapped a shot of somebody without makeup on, is doing this kind of thing, and it's like, but that didn't tell you anything about them as a person.
Yeah.
And now, Paul Stanley or Gene Simmons can get right onto Twitter or onto Instagram or anything and just put something out immediately about what they think for the band, for something in social circles, any of that kind of stuff, and fans immediately know what they're thinking.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've always like I said, there comes pros with that and there comes cons with that because people sometimes abuse that and they'll create this like fake identity, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's really weird because I feel, especially just like listening to my parents growing up and me, definitely social media has a big impact on the way people grow up. But I feel like that's no surprise to anyone.
Yeah, again, some of the last groups of students I was working with, MySpace was the big thing. So that goes,
Mm.
pre-Facebook kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
so some of the students that actually got referred to me would have like beef using MySpace, and then they'd meet each other in real life at school the next day, and then carry that beef over, and then bad things happen.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, at that time, it was such a weird concept to me. It's like, wait a minute, so you got pissed at somebody because of something they put on your wall or whatever on MySpace? And yeah, they said this, this, and this. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it just took a while. Now it's like, I don't want to say it's normal, but it doesn't surprise me now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like being a teacher, I'm just thinking of you and having kids, kind of especially figuring out social media. I guess that must have been you must have definitely, I feel like, seen that contrast for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it just kept getting wider and wider the older I got.
Now it's like a normal life. It's like weird if you don't use social media.
Yeah, it is for sure. So obviously we have Lonely Bitch coming out on Friday. And is there another single ready to drop in the future, or what are we also looking at future wise?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like I said before, I've just been kind of writing with a lot of really, really cool people, and there's a lot of music coming soon. 100%. Yeah.
Okay. And since you've actually done quite a bit, in your young life so far, what kind of advice would you give someone who's, let's say they're in elementary school or something, and they want to kind of go down a similar path that you're already on?
I know you said this is a very standard answer, but just yeah, if there's one thing being young and in the industry taught me is that a lot of the time I feel like there was always, because I was young, I wasn't really expected to know what I want to be. So just be authentic to yourself 100% of the way, because if you're not passionate about what you're doing, it's not, I don't think it's worth it. And I think that if you're not authentic to what yourself, it won't make the process as enjoyable to you. And you definitely want to be feeling good about what you're putting out. So don't feel like you're silenced just because you're young, because age is just a number at the end of the day. So definitely find what you love and definitely make it your own. And good luck is all I have to say.
That's awesome. Well, and it makes, again, like we were saying, perfect sense. It's really, really good advice. It's sound advice, and there's many adults that really need to take that advice too. They're trying to be something they're not, or they're having too many influences come in, trying to say, you should do this, you should do that, and it's kind of bogging down, their authentic self. And it's like, where's you in this? And hopefully they find it at some point.
For sure. And I mean, obviously, like always, if I get a demo and stuff, I'll obviously always send it to 100 people just to hear their opinions, because people are really smart and opinions are great. But at the end of the day, you should never be told kind of who you are, if that makes sense. I don't know if you've kind of encountered that too, but definitely always share opinions, hear thoughts 100%. But at the end of the day, if you don't love something, then make sure you're loving what you're pursuing, if that makes sense.
It makes absolute sense to me, because as soon as I start branching out from the concert, photography, reviews, and interviews, and start moving into what I call the arts area with musicals, theater, ballet, opera, all those kind of things, people are asking me, why are you doing that? It's like, because I'm interested in that, and it feels authentic to me. These are interesting things to me, even as a fan. I don't just listen to one style of music. I don't watch just films. I want to experience all of it, and I don't think in terms of limits. So it feels right to me, and it still feels right to me. So who knows what's going to happen in like 2 years from now? Maybe I'll be following, I don't know, pottery people, or I don't know, something new that I haven't been doing, and it's I'm always excited about it. Anything artistic just makes me feel good. And as I mentioned to you, it's been 105 interviews last year, and that's because I'm passionate about it. So I completely understand what you're saying about, at the end of the day, it's what you feel good about, what you want to do, what you believe in. It's always nice to kind of bounce ideas off of people, but at the end of the day, you make that final decision and call about
100%. And even no matter your age too, just because you're young, it doesn't mean that your opinions aren't invalid, if that makes sense. Just as much about yourself better than an older opinion, if that makes sense. Why am I saying that? I keep on saying if that makes sense. Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, and it does make sense. Well, AVIV, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been freaking awesome talking with you. You've got a great future ahead of you. Super talented, great personality. So all these pluses in your corner. And anytime you have something else that's new that's coming out that you want to help promote or talk about, I would love to have you back on, and we can go a second round with this.
Thank you so much, Mark. No, you're so exciting. I'm really excited that I was your 118th in the last, I don't know how many months. You said almost a year and a bit. Is that true?
Yeah, it started in May, so I guess it's been maybe 9 months, 10 months total.
9 months and 118 people. That's a good number. That's a good number to be. But no, thank you so much for giving me an outlet to promote my stuff on and get AVIV out there. I really appreciate it. You're awesome. I'm super excited to let me know about all the musicals that are coming. Let me know what I have to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely let you know. And before we end the live stream, where can people access Lonely Bitch on Friday? What platforms?
Yes, 100%. So if you want to pre-save it, be sure to go to my Instagram, and my Instagram is it's AVIV, so ITS AVIV, and you can just pre-save it. It's over there and you won't miss it. But on Friday at 12 a.m., it'll be out on like every streaming platform. And definitely, if you listen to it, be sure to DM me and we can have a little chat and stuff for sure.
Awesome. So there you go, folks. 12 a.m. on Friday the 12th. You can access it anywhere that you normally listen to your music. And then if you have thoughts about it, you can DM AVIV and then share those thoughts with her and kind of have a conversation and go from there. So again, thank you so much, AVIV. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And stay safe over there in Toronto. And
You too.
yeah, I will hopefully see you sooner than later.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, take care.
Okay.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.